Welcome back. Now it's time for us to take our relationship segment. Now, relationships often build up to marriage, and I say often, lightly. And as soon as the wedding is over, what happens? Couples start to get to know each other. And the first 1 year is filled with so many different activities. And that's what we want to talk about today. We have Miracle Ihuoma with us. He is a dynamic speaker, author, clinical psychologist, a life coach, and spiritual shepherd. Now, he's worked with different individuals, families, organizations as a family life therapist for over a decade. And on relationships today, we're talking about pressure points to expect in the first year of marriage. It's great to have you in the studio with us.
It's good to be here. I'm excited.
So based on that profile, I have a feeling you have a lot of couples going in and out of your office on the regular. Am I right?
You are.
So is it more common to find couples within the first 1 year having, strong questions to ask?
Yeah. Many marriages break within the first 5 years of marriage,
Okay.
according to research. That's because usually there's usually a process.
Okay.
And many times when couples are not willing or have the resilience to go through that process, they come crashing or give up on themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, so usually every relationship or marriage starts with what is known as the forming stage,
Okay.
where the butterflies are in the tummy, where, the art of relationship and marriage, you are enjoying yourselves, you are in love, chemicals are all over your brain,
Okay.
and then you're thinking about this person day and night. But then, after some point, reality begins to set in.
Okay.
And then you begin to see that this person has weaknesses. This person has issues. This person is flawed in that sense. So it's from that stage, that's what we now call storming.
Okay.
So you now begin to have those discrepancies. You begin to have a divergence of values, beliefs about whatnot, right? And then it's at this point that many people break up or get a divorce because they are not now able to go to the next stage, which is numbing, right? And then, of course, when numbing takes place, then it's very feasible that you would have a winning or a performing marriage, which is the last stage. So usually, marriages within the first 5 years, plateau at the storming stage, and then it goes their separate ways.
So now we're starting today with the first 1 year.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the pressure points, let's say, couples should be aware of and maybe try to avoid, or are they always going to happen?
Yeah, a lot of the pressure points for the first 1 year are as a result of lack of preparation,
Okay.
which is also a result of lack of knowledge, right? Because for a lot of couples, how many people even get to do proper preparation for marriage? How many people know what is called marriage education? A lot of people don't get educated about these things. They just feel like, okay, if I'm in love, then it's going to work. Without knowing that there are many things to know about even yourself, about your partner, about marriage as an institution, about a lot of those things that would help you in sustaining it. So a lot of these pressure points as a result of lack of preparation by the individuals going into that marriage.
Okay. So now let's talk about them. Let's see if we can pinpoint some of the more common pressure points that you've spoken to couples about. What's the first thing that often comes up?
Yes, so usually, so for instance, I did some sort of survey yesterday. I just asked a lot of couples who just got married. Okay, what are your pressure points? Knowing I was going to come on TV today. Okay. And to my surprise, almost all of them had different things to say about what their pressure points were.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So someone, it was communication. It was the fact that, okay, they didn't understand communication, communication styles and things like that in their first 1 year. For another person, it was finance. The fact that, oh, they didn't have enough money and it put some pressure on the marriage and things like that. For some other person, it was in-laws. Oh, somebody had to come and stay, an in-law had to come and stay with them, and then that affected a lot with communication, conflict resolution, and things like that. So it really differs from person to person all right? And usually, like I said, the most important thing would now be how couples are prepared and ready for those things, you know, in the first 1 year. Because usually a lot of couples or a lot of people going into marriage are not ready, are not prepared for those challenges. So when they meet those challenges, they don't know what to do. Yeah, it's the same thing with parenting a first child. For a lot of people, when they give birth to their first child, they don't know what to do because it's the first time they're having to be a parent. So they are clueless. So a lot of the times, firstborn children are like scapegoats, you know, lab rats that they use for experimentation, where they now get it right afterwards. So it's the same thing for a lot of people who are coming into marriage for the first year. They are clueless about what to do. Okay, wow, I've never been in this situation before.
You've never been married before.
You've never been married before. Because no matter how long you have been in a premarital relationship, it is still a premarital relationship. It's not a marital relationship. So when you now get to start living with the person, you will then see things that you did not see before then. And then if you're not prepared about how to go about that, how to approach it, how to resolve those issues, then you begin to crack, you know, which can then become fatal.
There was a term you used earlier in this conversation. You said that you begin to realize that your partner is flawed.
Yeah.
Every individual has flaws.
Exactly.
So how do couples begin to, you know, get over this realization when the butterflies begin to fade? And it is often within the first 1 year of marriage. So what sort of advice would you give them?
Yes. So you need to know this. So if you're listening to me right now and you're not even married, you need to know that you are never going to marry a perfect person. The same way you are not perfect anyway, right? So just look at yourself. How you know that you're flawed yourself. You know that you have weaknesses. You know that you're not perfect. It's the same way you're not perfect. Whoever it is you're going to end up with, you're going to marry to, is not also going to be perfect. They're going to have issues. They're going to have weaknesses, right? And then that is why a major part of marriage is forgiveness. And usually forgiveness the very foundation of forgiveness must be understanding that the other person is imperfect. That must be the foundation. Because when you realize that somebody else is not perfect, it's easier to forgive them, right? Because a lot of the times the reason we hold things against other people is because we think they did whatever they did, knowing that what they did would hurt us and they still go ahead to do it. But when we realize that whatever your partner does, they are doing most likely out of a weakness and not out of wickedness.
Wow.
Or they are doing it out of ignorance. So it's either they don't know any better or they have a weakness in that particular area. That's why they are doing what they are doing. When you have that knowledge, it is easier to actually forgive them, knowing that, okay, this person is not doing it because they want to wicked me. No, they are doing it because they have a weakness in this area or they're just ignorant about how to even do any better.
I have to say a huge thank you to you. I don't think we can exhaust this particular topic, and it would be great to hear your thoughts as well. Use our hashtag #WakeUpNigeria on TVC and let us know if you have any questions, and we will be tagging a Miracle Ihuoma as well, and hopefully responding to your questions. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
We need you to come back next week. We have to go a bit further on these pressure points, early days in marriage. But at this point, let's head over to the kitchen. We don't have a pressure cooker in the kitchen, but there is a lot of pressure to have a good meal this morning. Am I right, MM?